All right.
Come back and get graded, and you put it $5 in the file. All right, so what we're tying now?
Just tie the mop fly.
Okay. So that's stuff you got like this?
Okay.
Oh, do I need any dubbing in that?
No.
Okay.
So we don't need any wire for that?
No.
So the hook's the same?
No. It's a different package. It's a size 12 hook. All right. So I'm gonna put in a finished product here, and you may have in your package different colors. I think I've got a chartreuse and maybe a yellow, and you may have a different colored bead head. It doesn't matter, you know. So. Okay, so everybody knows that for some reason a mop fly is controversial. Okay, the only reason I could think it can be controversial because it will outcatch any other thing you put on there, just about. Okay, so this fly is not that old. There's a guy named Jim Estes up in North Carolina. He's a fly creator, and so he's going through his family dollar store, and he runs across a mop that you do your kitchen floor with. Okay, he says, "Man, that would make a nice fly." So he puts that little whatever you call the thing, on a hook and bead, okay, and it catches fish. Okay, so they claimed that it resembled a certain type of worm in that part of the country called a green sourwood worm, okay? A green sourwood worm. Sort of like my worm, my little green worm, okay? But they also discovered that it catches fish when there are no worms. So it catches fish anytime, anywhere, anytime. So this fly was sort of they say, a well-kept secret up in the Smoky Mountains for several years, until a guy named Lance Egan used it in a USA fly fishing tournament. I think Olympic, maybe he was an Olympic on the USA Olympic team up in the Adirondack Mountains up in upstate New York. Right, you kind of know where that is, right?
Got that.
So anyway, I'm not sure that is still. I think it's been banned from the competition fishing. But to me, it's nothing more than another material. If I'm going to the Battenkill and the Catskill Mountains to Roscoe, New York, they call it Trout Town, USA. If I'm going there, I'm not going to fish a mop fly. I'm going to go to Joe Dietz fly shop there, and I'm going to find out what they're biting on, and
But you're going to have some in your box.
it'll have some in my truck. but I wouldn't use one up there. I mean, that's a purist. The birthplace of dry fly fishing in the U.S. They say. I wouldn't use it up there. I'd use something else. I'd use a squirm worm or something like that. So anyway, so I guess it's controversial. But anyway, I have tried started out tying this fly like many people do. You know, the tail and some type of body. Okay, this is just a thread body, but you can use any number of things, and people use everything. But I wanted one that was complete and more uniform in appearance. And I tried several ways to get the this look. Now, I didn't come up with this idea that I'm going to show you. I saw it on YouTube. Somebody else did. And I said, man, I really like that. I'm going to try that. So this is the way I tie my flies now, and I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay. So in your package, you have 2 mops of two different colors and 2 hooks and beads. Okay. So we're going to get, and I'm going to change. You can put a pink hot spot on a mop fly. You can put a hackle on it. You can put a dubbing collar on it. You can do all kinds of things. It's up to you to figure out what you want to do with that, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to switch off to a chartreuse thread, and I'm just going to make a mop fly. So get both of your little mop tentacles out. Get one of your hooks and beads out. Okay. So now, same type of jig hook, same type of tungsten bead, except in this case, I am using a number 12 short wide gap hook. And what really turned me on to wide gap hooks is the mop fly, because if you notice, the body is very thick, and that wide gap will greatly improve your hook set and hook up over a smaller hook that your hook point is maybe even touching the body. Now, I learned that through experience, and I would take a regular hook and I would widen it myself with my pliers, and my hookup rate would increase. Instead of 1 in 4, I'd catch 3 and 4. It would greatly improve. Okay, so that's why I use a wide gap hook. So take your bead, your hook, and put the bead on your hook and put it in your vise. And this is a 5/16 bead. This is a heavy bead, a big bead. It's bigger than the hook that we got, a bigger hook and a bigger bead than we had before.
This is tungsten too.
This is also a tungsten. It's heavy. And you see how if you just push it, the heavy part of the bead goes to the underside of the hook, and then if you turn it, it will go to the top. You see how that thing, if you let it rest, how it hangs under the hook? You want it up like that, and it gets closer to the bead. All right, take your thread. I don't have mine threaded. And I'm using a 210 on this one. You can still use the 140. I wouldn't use a 70 on this. Because it's getting bigger and bigger.
Pull a piece out like this. No tension on it, and then wrap it, and then wrap it. See that?
All right. So we got our bead sitting up high on the hook, and you're going to tie it in at that point. and I tie back, get my thread started.
How far you got back?
Just to cover, just about to the point of the hook. And I come back and try to lock this bead in. Yeah, you can, because it is so big, you can do the same thing I did with the 3 wraps of wire to help lock this bead in. It's important to, get it, build up enough thread to lock it in. And you sort of run little tapers back and forth, and building the front of it until it gets to where it won't move, okay? So, all right, has everybody got their bead tied in? Got your thread right behind the bead?
Can I see this right here?
Okay. So this thing is longer than I want it. And I'm fixing to tie in just the tail portion of it. So I'm gonna use about, figure out how long I want my tail. Now mine, I want it about that long. And I figure out where I need to cut the front of it to do that. Well, really, yeah, okay. So that's where I'm gonna cut this thing in two, is right there. Cut the front part of it off. Okay?
Can you hold it up there where we can see how far it goes out the back, Robert, please?
Something like that.
Okay.
Not, I don't want it long.
About shaft length?
Yeah, and I got a short hook, so it's not that long. Okay, now I grab the very tail end of it and I start pulling fibers off this thing, exposing the cords that are in the front of it. And I'll pull off enough and makes a mess. All right, so you see you got a bunch of cords there, and I'm going to tie that into the hook shank and put my tail, beginning of my tail, where I want it. So I sort of hold it in place right there. Can y'all see that? I'll make a loose wrap and start tying those thread particles in. Oh, mine slipped. Slipped again. I didn't tighten it up. All right, that's about where I want it, so I'm gonna tie it all the way back. Back to the front. If I have any excess thread showing at the back of the head, I want to clip that off. And tie that in tight to the back of the bead. Okay? So that's the way I would normally, years ago, would have tied this thing, and it did something with that part of the body. Okay? And see, I don't have it I don't want it tied to the bend. I don't want to go that far back on the hook. I want it straight. Okay? So now, you let your thread hang at the front of the deal. Now you take your other long mop material, and you do the same, you pull the material away from the head and expose the cords again.
The same color?
Same color.
Did you wrap all the way back to the hook point?
Yeah, I wrapped it back, tie the body in to the back, yeah. Wherever I want the tail to start, that's where I wrap to. And again, if I want a durable fly, I'm gonna put some of this stuff on there. But you don't have to do that.
And what's the name of that, Robert?
This is a hard as hull penetrator. It's a hairline product.
Is it like Sally Hansen's kind of?
Yeah, but it's thin. It'll soak into this material. And then since I've got that on there, I'm gonna put another wrap of thread just to sort of cover it a little bit. And it will not go anywhere. The bead will not go anywhere. Most of the times when a fly fails for me, the bead slips back down the hook. It's not anchored good, or it comes unraveled. Okay, so now I'm back to exposing the ends of this. You see I've got several little ends of the cord showing. I'm gonna take those things and I'm gonna pull this thing apart. Unwrap, it'll split right down the middle, okay? And I've got a little corkscrew of a material that I'm gonna make the body out of. That's my chenille for the body. Now,
Right, so you just grab two of those in each hand and pull?
yeah. And if they don't pull, grab two different ones. All right, let it sort of unravel. All right, so you've got a little, and it's got lots of memory in it, right? Okay, that'd be perfect if you could get that to wrap over your hook. So, depending on, I'm gonna wrap over and under, so I'm gonna look at this thing and I'm gonna see, oh, I want that end, I want this end, because this spiral is set up for, no, they're both set up for under and over, okay? So anyway.
You're talking about the direction of the spiral facing forward, is that what
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how I'm gonna tie this thing in. Because what I'm gonna do is tie in the end and then I'm gonna flip it to come back forward. So I'm not gonna worry about that. I don't know which way to do it. Looks the same. But I'm gonna also pull loose some more of this material and expose a little bit of the cord, and I'm gonna tie that cord in at the top, right behind the bead, and I'm gonna wrap it back to my tail.
Are you ready? You got it closed up like this, Rasmus, or? Oh, never mind, okay, I see what you're saying. Thank you.
And you wanna get to where your first wrap is gonna sort of overlap the very end. You need to get it tight enough to where that first wrap is going to make it look kind of uniform. And I'm gonna take my thread back to the bead. Okay, and I'm gonna get it out of my way. Is everybody with me there?
Not yet.
Okay. You just pull it, Lindsay. Just pull it. Grab two of the cords and pull it apart. Which you're not the one that's tied in. Your spare one.
Yeah, well, I already tied that spare one in.
Oh, okay. But before you unwrapped it. Okay. It's gonna be hard to do. You need to untie it in.
Now I got it out of this,
You know, just pull them apart.
apart.
Yeah. Got it? Now pull, expose the cord on one end of it and tie it in behind the bead toward the back, the end of the hook. All right, everybody up? All right, so now we're going to wrap the body back toward the bead. Try to figure out how it's going to work. I don't know, it's kind of crazy. See if you can get it. You may have to twist it as you do it to get it to go on there
Do you
straight.
pull it pretty tight when you're doing it, or does
Huh?
that take out the fun? Do you pull it tight?
Keep it firm, not real, don't break anything.
Okay.
And you wrap it all the way back tight to the back of the bead. Okay? Don't let go of it and tie that in.
I counter wrapped it.
You know, it's pretty thick, but the fly is gonna have a bump to the body, but that's why you got a big head on it, big bead on it. So tighten it in over the squiggly behind it, and then cut off the excess without cutting your string, your thread. All right.
Then you got the top one.
Huh?
Then you got the top one.
Yep, could be. Now it's a little fuzzy. You caught the mop material, but when you start to finish it off, try to catch a little bit more of it to make sure it'll hold. And you see, if you wanted to dub this with some dubbing, you can. If I were going to dub this, I would go and get some peacock SLF and put it on my thread and dub it, but I'm not going to do that. And then I'm going to apply that adhesive to my thread again, down about 3/4 of an inch. I'm going to wrap that in and glue that in. And then I'm going to take my whip finisher and it's also, you know, going into the adhesive. Three or four wraps, tie it off. Cut the thread. So it's don't do what?
Trim any of that off
Would it get hung
Uh,
up back? Well, that's something
on
like.
the bottom of the body, but between the hook point and the body.
You could. I mean, that's why you have a wide gap size 12 hook, because that's a pretty thick body there.
Yeah.
Doing it this way. I've not had any problems with hookup on this fly with that hook. Now, if I had a regular hook that was touching the belly, you know, it never would catch a fish. The belly is really the back. This is the way it sets in the water.
So Robert, what's the name of that first one, other than Robert Hughes Surprise Fly?
It hadn't been named, it don't have a name. It's Robert's Surprise.
All right.
That's what we're gonna call it for now. But this fly is very buoyant when it's dry. When it's wet, it sinks like a rock. If you catch a bunch of fish on it, it begins to smell like a fish. It's very absorbent.
So it's catching more fish.
It-
So it's catching bigger fish.
It will have a natural fish scent to it.
Yeah, you don't catch worms on your moth flies before you use them, do you?
Do what?
You don't catch worms on
No.
them that smell like worms, do you?
No, but it will smell like a fish, and if it'll get blood on it, and it'll absorb all that, it gets real ugly. But the uglier it gets, the more fish it catches. And I'm not so sure that's not the secret to the mop fly, is the absorbent material.
My problem is I just catch one fish and that's it.
I know better than that.
Carlton's thumb, I think, twitches on that counter sometimes.
No, it don't.